Hello and welcome to another. This is our fifth Enlightening Conversation, isn't it? Oh, and what a joy it is to be with you again after the Higher Self Expo that we've both been involved in for the last however many months it's been going on.
Yes. I don't know how you've done all of those interviews, Louisa. I am in awe of you.
You did all that lovely facilitation on the day. And all the behind the scenes stuff. My goodness, what a big project. For those of you that don't know, I'm Louisa Tanner Munson from Feel Good Astrology, and I'm here with beautiful Tanya Castillo from inpassioncoaching.com, also known as TC Aeelah, a well-known author who has released some great things recently. I'm just looking over my shoulder to see if I can find those amazing cards. I think Carl may have.
I've got them here. Let me check. The stuff we do. Oh, here they are.
Oh, they're wonderful. I know I've got some in here, but my husband was using only last Friday when you were on his show.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is our fifth kind of get together where we are like joining to talk about all sorts of, well, anything that comes up about consciousness. And today's theme is collapsing into the one. I really love that. And we've already got people in the chat room joining us. We've got Matea. Hi, Matea. Thank you so much for joining us once again. We've got Gregor showing up once again. And I think
that's Slovenian.
So Matea and Gregor are in Slovenia. Yeah, she's saying, I think that's something like, hi, Gregor, I hope you're really well, or something like that. I'd love to know the translation, seeing as I don't speak that. But welcome. Thank you for joining us once again, you wonderful people. So collapsing into one. It's funny because since this weekend, when we had got involved with the Higher Self Expo, all I've wanted to do is actually collapse into bed and collapse onto the sofa with a book and just take some time. What about you, Tanya?
You know, I noticed something really interesting. As I've shared in other occasions, my journey now is like the theme I shared in the Higher Self Expo is really an experiment. So it's an experiment of collapsing into one, basically, of embodying isness. And there are many things that I experience in a very different way than I used to in the past. And one thing is this, like if I am sort of hosting or holding space for this, you know, humongous crowd of people that I don't even have any idea about, but I know there is a huge crowd of people, and it's because it's a big event. And when I'm holding space for something like that, it just feels like I just can't do much more. I don't have an inclination to bring my attention to many more things.
Yeah.
And more is like my attention is so focused that that's it. And I will be holding space or be involved in something, and that's it. And it's not that plus 50 different things. So I've lost the faculty of multitasking. But responding to your question, like afterwards,
yeah,
it's exactly that. Whenever I am in the backstage of something big like this, I have to take a step back and allow it to collapse into one, really, to all come together. So all of the space holding that I was doing before just comes back into this pool within, and it expands, really. It expands to a different level. So for a few days after any kind of big event like this, of course, I have things to do and tasks that I have to complete and that, but I don't book private sessions, for instance, in the first few days. I really make a point of honoring that experience so much that it can be fully integrated. So that's how it works for me.
Wow. Wow, I think that sounds like you've really honored yourself. Matea is just sharing with us. She's saying, congratulations for the Higher Self Expo and my gratitude. You also created an amazing community. It felt so good to be part of it. That's really, really nice. That's
Thank you, Matea. Thank you.
And Stephen Wells is joining us from the UK. He said, never been a fan of multitasking, much prefer focused intention and attention.
Yeah.
Like both of those words have got ention in, and I'd love to know the sort of etymology of it. But you've got this inward, and attention is almost when you're focusing outward. That's what I'm getting. You get that as well.
Yeah. And I noticed it used to be a kind of a gender thing that we usually say that men are less inclined to multitasking and women are the sort of multitaskers and that. And now I get it, like bringing the feminine and masculine together within in a more harmonious state. I realized that really that multitasking feminine that was all over the place was not respecting herself properly. Yeah. So bringing in that other supportive masculine side within me in a much more balanced place allows for that respect of our energy and also of the other person or people that we are with. So either we're here or we're not.
Yes, it's very interesting that you say that, because in terms of multitasking, I've become a terrible multitasker since I've become a mother. And I do lots of things, but I find it very hard to concentrate. And when I look at astrology and I'm looking at multitasking, how might that show up? And one of the asteroids or dwarf planets that I use, Ceres, who is Demeter, basically Mother Earth. I mean, she is the queen of all multitasking, because, all of nature, all the cycles, all the corals releasing their spawn at the right times, everything is going according to some kind of cosmic timing or cosmic plan. We could say the same of God, obviously, or the universe, or whatever we choose to use in those places. And I find that on the feminine, there's this idea that we need to match that.
And we do. What I've noticed, the interesting thing is that as you become multidimensional, or in a sense, as you allow your consciousness to expand to your multidimensionality, you are always in more than one place at once, though your awareness of that is not in your conscious mind at that moment, in your local experience. So basically, you become more focused in your local experience, and that's how your non-local experience expands multidimensionally. So it's basically the mother principle.
Wow. I mean, one thing that I've noticed with newly awakened people is often, because I met quite a few on my travels, is that language changes quite quickly, and and punctuation, the way people write, I've noticed starts to get a bit scattered, and the thinking it just seems to be kind of out there, and I'm guessing it takes a while to get that sort of coherence, which I know you talk about as you embody and get very sort of firm in where you are. But it must be a bit like being a tree, being very rooted here, and
there you are,
spreading out into other dimensions.
That's how I feel it. That's exactly how I feel it. And I have people sometimes say to me, you were right here with me, breathing with me, or, doing whatever. And I was, oh, okay, great. Just as well, I don't need to know all of these things.
That's funny. Talking of funny, Stephen Wells said, can I have that in writing? I think that's about
the feminine and masculine thing.
Yeah.
We'll transcribe it, Stephen.
So why did we pick this? I mean, when I was looking astrologically, I noticed that today was quite a magical day, in as much as the sun is changing signs, Venus is changing signs, and Jupiter is on the cusp of changing signs. Jupiter's going retrograde, but we've got 3 planets at 0 degrees at the moment. And one thing that I noticed with the 0 degree energy is that it hooks into the solstice energy and also the equinox energy, like the start of the seasons. And it's almost like a 0 point energy, I guess, with a 0, of like a place of possibility, like anything could occur. And if you really want to, I don't know, start something completely new or go off in a completely new direction, I always find that the energy of the 0 degrees is perfect. It's like pulling a rabbit out of a magician's hat. You never know what's going to be there. Like a black hole, who knows? A reverse black hole. Put your hand in, see what comes out. But when I sort of described that to you, you came up with the wonderful title of collapsing into one. Where did that come from?
Well, for me, that sense of 0 point is exactly 1. So for me, 0 is 1. And not in numerical terms.
Yeah. Computer people that are like into ones and zeros and binary code, they're going to be like, huh?
Yeah. So basically the 0 is like you're saying, that black hole where all is one, where there is no separation.
Yeah.
So within that circle, that sphere of the 0, which we could make it a sphere instead of another kind of shape, everything is contained.
Yeah.
And from there, everything can spring forth.
Yeah.
But if you are dispersed in duality, so being this and this and this and this and this, then you cannot tap into the full strength and power of that 0, which is the 1.
Yeah.
So that sense of oneness, of wholeness, we could say.
Yeah, because it's a whole, even though it's spelt differently.
There you are. I would say that's where the title came from. So basically allowing our conscious awareness to collapse into that now, into that void, which is in the now.
Yeah. So
that then we can access what can be brought out, like the pulled out from that magic hat. Is it a rabbit? Is it a card? Is it a scarf? What is it?
You know what I was hearing there when you were describing the 0 and then collapsing into 1? As you were doing that with your hands, it reminded me of a toroidal moving shape. You know, like the toroidal shape of and it is like a circle, and then it's got a column in the middle, and so the
is
going up. It's going up and around and back up, or
that's it.
And so it's energy that's completely recycling itself. And
there,
I guess all revolutions, does it get stronger? I don't even know. I mean, but I believe that is kind of what we are. In some of my meditations, when I've looked at, in my mind's eye, like considering the human form, I felt like a huge, I don't know if it was going up or down, I can't remember, but
whatever. Yeah. So that's what I feel that is that 0 point is, letting go of the attachment to the stories, the belief systems, the paradigms, the programs, all of these things. And if none of that is there determining your next choice, what will it be?
Oh, it could be anything.
This is fundamentally different than the usual process of making choices.
Okay, we've got a question from Mr. M, who's shown up. He's saying, serious question, how to stay calm, peaceful and joyful in an increasingly mad society? It's a good question. Tanya, what would you say to that?
I would ask first one question first before going on, which is, has society not been mad for a long, long time? So then it becomes, where is the viewer? So what are we choosing to view? The mad society, or another point of perception within, which can embrace the fact that, yes, we are living in the midst of chaos. But notice one thing: everything in the universe seems chaotic, but it is not. It has an intrinsic harmony to it.
Yeah.
So if we can bring this knowingness, that no matter how mad things seem, there is an intrinsic harmony that will achieve some sort of a critical mass towards something else. And that something else might be, in our perception, good or bad, but it will be according to the most part.
Yeah.
Right? So then it will be what is needed for the most part, because that is what will determine each next breath, each next step in collective terms. And if we hang on to the limited view of, gosh, this is mad, gosh, this is crazy, gosh, how can I deal with this?
Yeah.
It gets really stressful, and it hurts, and it's painful to be in that mode. And we've all done that. We all know the result of that. But the thing is, it's hard, really hard sometimes, to be on earth in the midst of everything and not get caught up in this or this or this or this. Then again, we are sentient beings, and we have the capacity to choose. So if we have in the past chosen that, and we realize for ourselves, so each one has their own experience, but if for us it's no longer being of service, then it's our choice to shift the point of view, coming from that oneness instead of grabbing onto the madness.
Yeah.
Because it will be there anyway.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It will be there anyway. And if each one of us can be in a point where we are not being kicked left, front, and center by it, we can be bringing into that same seemingly chaotic mass of madness a different paradigm.
Yeah.
Because paradigms in terms of consciousness only become possible when they are tapped into. Okay, so if no one is tapping into the paradigm of being whole and one and at peace, no matter what is going on, so at peace in the midst of the storm, if no one is doing that, then what will be the outcome? Yeah. So, of course, we have no expectation towards any outcome, because we all know that that is not something we can control. We're not here to control, really. That has been the whole illusion. But that's what created the madness in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, as you said that, I noticed some discomfort rise in me immediately. It was right there. It was listening. It was like there was this listening inside me that was just waiting to be triggered, just to go, what? That madness. Yeah. We've got some comments to Carl's question, actually. So our friend Smita is joining us. So Smita's saying, hello, beauties. Hello back to you.
Hello.
0 degrees in Vedic astrology. When planets are going from a water, Cancer, into fire, Leo, is a Gandanta point. I wonder what that means. Smita sent us something else, so maybe that's where the rest of it comes from.
It's there. It's there.
Point. And she's then said, like the power of the last man in queue gives a push forward to those in front of him to move forward. I love that description. That's fantastic, because you're right.
And then there it says it's a deep transformational point.
I can't see that bit.
It's right after the other comment. It's they're one after the other.
Sorry. Oh yeah.
No, further up.
Oh crikey! I've just zoomed down. Sorry.
There you are.
Thank you. It's a deep transformational point, water to fire. And Gadanta can also mean drowning and gives rise to a feeling of being out of control, like drowning. I think there's a lot of people that would put their hands up and say, yeah, I feel that. And it's interesting because the sun has gone over the Gadanta point today. It's gone from the sign of Cancer into the sign of Leo. And we've also got Jupiter going in between Pisces and Aquarius. It's going retrograde, so it's going from water to air. And we've also got Venus going from Leo to Virgo. So Smita, I'd love to know if there's a different translation for the different pairs of elements and how they work. But definitely with the sun, with the water to fire, I think we can all feel that. Carl is saying it has felt crazy all my life.
Yeah.
Maybe that's you, my love.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, definitely. And so Smith also said, and 0-degree planets are young. Yes, I'd agree with that. But in some placements, you could also be responsible for your success if you consciously develop them. Yeah, I think it's a really powerful energy that you can tap into. It's like complete innocence. It's like from my perspective, it's like wiping the slate clean and giving yourself a fresh chance to, a bit like every day. Every day when you get up, like you've been sleeping and then you wake up and it's a new opportunity to start over. And I guess you'd say that, Tanya, with every breath, wouldn't you? Every breath. I've been listening to you see.
It's not every day, it's every breath. There's that new chance. There's always that new chance. The thing, isn't it amazing how many chances we have?
Yeah, absolutely.
Constantly.
Do you think you've ever almost died? I've
yeah.
I almost
definitely.
I got almost hit by an ice cream van when I was a child. Almost a tram in France. Like it was about to hit me. Someone pulled me back at the last minute. I got hit by an articulated lorry. I got struck by lightning. I've had lots of experiences.
Gosh,
I think
you're full of surprises, Louisa.
I think of myself as unkillable. I mean, I'm not like trying to encourage
like the cat.
But it's interesting how quickly you can go into that moment. Everything can be really peaceful and calm.
That's it. So you yield. You surrender to it.
Yeah.
So that's how I would say, like with Carl's really great question. That's it. If fighting against it is actually maddening, because the thing is, we perceive whatever serves us, right? So if mad serves us in a way, it will be maddening. So what if you yield to it? So therefore not fighting against it, which does not mean agreeing with it. It just means finding the spaces in between. I would say, like in quantum physics, it is very evident that there is much more space in us than matter, right? Yeah. We are made up of or over around 90% or more than 90% space. But it doesn't seem so.
Yeah.
So the same thing. So it seems to be mad. What if you go in the space in between? Wow.
I've never had that thought before.
Yeah, that's how I find the yielding to work. It's sort of like a blending. You're not fighting against, you're going in between. And that's how you also bring that expanded consciousness as a possible potential to that collective of madness.
I mean, when you said that, I mean, I was already in a bit of a matrix mindset from all the talk of ones and zeros. But as you were saying that, I was imagining you, like, I can't remember his name, who Keanu Reeves plays. what is his name? But you know when he's
The Matrix.
Neo,
right?
Neo. And so when you're saying that, like merging the spaces, I was imagining like bullets coming past and him going in slow
there. Yeah.
Tai Chiing his way through it.
It's a bit like that, right? But of course, that is like a figurative. The whole film is a figurative image of what goes on in this matrix.
Yeah.
And we perceive ourselves to be caught up or trapped in the matrix until we realize we can be on the spaces in between and not on the lines of the matrix.
I mean, that would be an amazing skill to have. I mean, I've always considered myself, and since I've met Carl as well, we seem to sit on the fringe of things always. You know, like we can commit to things. We don't have problems committing, but it feels like we have more possibility and more options when we don't subscribe to one way of life or another. We give ourselves that space to be able to fit in between. But I'd love to be able to do it, I guess, etherically. You know, I know we can do it physically.
And you do. You can't do it physically if you're not doing it etherically, really. Right. Because if you're more space than matter, the matter is only accompanying the ether in you.
Yeah.
Isn't that it's strange for us to conceive, isn't it? It always it seems so strange to conceive that this solid table and this solid computer and this solid body is more space than matter. Yeah. But yeah, it's been proven scientifically.
Yes, it's incredible. And actually, when you're talking about being able to notice the space in you rather than the matter, I guess that must be what monks that levitate are able to do.
For sure, yeah.
So where they perceive it with such strength
that then they actually lift themselves off the ground. Yeah, for sure. It has to be that, because that defies the laws of gravity. Then again, it doesn't. Because it's tapping into the space and the lightness instead of being the matter, releasing the attachment to the matter. Anyway, I've never levitated, but I can imagine and feel and sense that that's it. Is really letting go to such a degree that happens. Let's see.
It'd be fantastic if you started like floating up.
Yeah, and you like, and then we come into the program and we're both floating on the screen.
I'm just trying to adjust my chair to see if I could emulate, but I can't with my chair. Whoop.
Oh,
there you are. I love that, because you know, like when we started, we knew we were like talking about the collapsing into oneness, or the idea of one, and enjoying that feeling of collapse as we explored this. And it's fascinating that we've gone on a sort of quantum journey already. So where's your attention being drawn now, Tanya?
At the very moment, only here and now with us. The funny thing is that happens to me is that we are right here, right now, having this conversation. And I can tell you, I have no idea what else my attention is being drawn to.
Wow.
I am so focused with you here now that I couldn't care less, you know? Wow. So because I don't care, nothing else is weighing into this space that we are here creating for us, and with whomever is listening is also creating this space with us.
Yes. Yeah, because they are creating it with us, aren't they?
Definitely. We're all tapping into it together.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear if you have a question, or if you'd like to share an experience about how you collapse into one. I'd love, like, let us know in the chat room.
That would be really interesting.
I mean, I've shared my experience of expanding into one rather than collapsing, but I guess collapsing is kind of a similar thing that I had in a dream that felt so real that I actually felt that I could have died in that moment, where I left my body and knew that I was nothing, and I just felt ecstatic. All sense of my body it was like it just fallen away, like little sequins. It just like dematerialized. Had this experience of dematerialization, and kind of shooting off, and up and out, and I just knew that I was gone from my body size to something really vast and really like nothing. It was like vast nothingness, and I felt absolute peace. I felt absolute joy in that moment, until I ruined it for myself by saying it's not my time. Boom, back in my body. In that moment, I was so excited because I knew I was the thought that I had in my head was reunion. I'm going back, and I will know what this whole thing was about. I had this excitement that I was going to know all the answers, and I was excited that the veils were falling from my eyes, and I would see, and everything would make sense, and I could have a good old laugh about it. And that's what I really felt in that moment. And as I realized I was going in that direction, and obviously, my youngest was only 3 months old then, I was like, I can't go. It's not my time. Boom. But
well, I had the exact experience, but collapsing into the body, into the here and now, and also, of course, feeling that enormity of not having physical constraints and all of these things. So you can bring that here, and so if you're not keeping it in a space or time that can only be achieved when you leave this life and choose to embody that, to bring it here, who knows, you can come and retrieve it because it's in your space of consciousness, and bring it into this life experience without having to wait for it.
Wow. Now this is the magic of us connecting, isn't it? Because
it is.
It wouldn't have occurred to me to even do that. And I was talking to a client last week, and what came up to me, what as I was listening to what she was sharing with me, I felt like she almost wanted to call back all the energy that she'd given out. Like where you give out care, you give out worry, you give out concern, and you almost want to say, you know what? Hey boys, come on. All that energy, come on back. You belong to me. It's my energy. It's, and kind of almost bring it all back in.
And it is your energy. Yeah. And it will serve you first if you are able to do that, to receive it back into you. And it's not going to be available for anyone else anyway. Yeah. It's going to be more available because now it's you're receiving it fully, and therefore you cannot not be giving it.
Yeah.
You can only really give what you are receiving fully. Basically, that's the collapsing into one, I would say.
Oh, I love that. Hang on. And I must read out some of these comments because we've got some lovely sharings from people. You can only, what did you say? You can only receive fully.
That you can only give what you are receiving fully.
I'm such a
slow. I found that so fabulous to discover that, really, that, oh, wait a minute. The thing is with the receiving, not with the giving. Because the giving is a given.
Yeah.
Yeah. The given, it's a given that we're here. It's naturally so. It only is not if you are not receiving fully. Then you have this sense that you have to make an effort to give and all of these things. because you're not in the flow of receiving. You're not coming from the inside out.
Yeah. Oh, you're amazing.
And we are.
Yeah. Okay. So Smita has answered what I was talking about, Gadanta. She says it only refers to water steaming up when transiting into fire and therefore significant. Thank you for that. Matea then is saying definitely with breathing with Tanya or myself, but it's more intense in a group with Tanya leading us into one. Isn't that nice to hear?
Thank you, Matea. Thank you. It's so fabulous. I mean, the sense of it, it's so expanded when there are more than one in that space of consciousness, allowing it. It's just incredible, really, for me too, for all of us. Yeah,
that's beautiful. We've got Doris here. I've not seen Doris before, so welcome to the show. Doris is saying, hello, sometimes I'm just taken away and sense it as if I get kissed from the divine and being embraced. She's written embrace twice, so that's a nice big smooch. And then and then she said again, as Matea mentioned, the breathing is opening the doors to soar.
And Doris has made so many healing transformations in her body just by remaining in that full trust. She's an amazing example of that.
Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us, Doris. Where are you from? Where are you based?
Germany.
Fantastic. Whew. So one of the things I really loved that you shared was about sowing the new paradigm, like sowing the seeds of a new paradigm. Oh yeah, Doris is just saying Germany. Thank you. So like in reference to Carl's crazy mad world, there must be some people, or there can be people that choose to not enter into the craziness of it, and they can be in a new paradigm. And they might.
It's what we call the new earth, basically.
Yeah. So they could be in the new earth. And I'm guessing the more we do that, the more that is bringing out that potential in other people, and it spreads like wildfire.
Basically, that would actually tie into what Smita is sharing as the potential for this 0 point now.
Yeah.
It really is exactly that simple, isn't it? It's amazingly simple. The thing is, the pull of this madness is so enticing and so seductive.
Yeah. I get trapped in it a lot.
It really requires us to be, I would say, to be in a space of such self-love and respect that you're not going to give your energy to that. Because each time you go into, oh gosh, I can't believe these guys, how can they be doing this, how can this be happening, and so on, you are you notice, you feel it, you get tired, you feel exhausted, you're putting that energy out there, and you could be using it to take care of yourself and therefore sow the seeds for that new paradigm. But it's so hard to be aware of that duality and collapse into one instead. It is really challenging. I believe it's the biggest challenge we all have as humans, as divine humans or whatever, to stay in that. The seduction is just crazy.
Well, I know this isn't what we normally do, Tanya, but would you be happy to lead us into?
Oh yes, let's do a short breath. Yeah, let's do that. Okay.
Energy of the Gadanta, the steaming water. Let me just get the name of it right. The water steaming up when transiting into fire. Our emotions can be transformed into maybe heroic action.
And it is,
love.
that, yeah, that's the thing. Notice how interestingly heroic is connoted with going out there and doing something outstandingly visible. Yeah.
But we can do that inside, be a hero inside ourselves, like our
yeah. And that self-love is really heroic, because it goes against so much of what we have learned to be good and to be worthy and all of these things, to be acceptable. And it's not a mind kind of talk of self-love. It's something it's so profoundly whole and one. It's really navigating this ocean of duality like a professional surfer.
Yeah. Before we start with the breathing, I just wanted to share one last thing about the steaming water, the water steaming up and transiting into fire. In astrology, the space between Cancer and Leo, like Cancer is about traditions, and I think it's about our narrative, our personal narrative, the story of our life, the story of our ancestors, the story of our childhood and our home, and the story of security. And then as the energy moves into the sign of Leo, what occurs is the transformation of that story into something that gives birth. The Leo side is about innocence and birthing and us being creative. It's like we lose our story. Like Cancer is also ruled by the sun, and Leo is ruled by the Cancer's ruled by the moon, and Leo's ruled by the sun. So you've got the divine mother, the divine father. It's just like this shift from feeling and having your stories about it and putting it into some kind of creation. I just wanted to
I would say in this transformation into fire, it is really becoming the actual alchemy itself.
Yeah. So I'm ready.
So that's what we're going to breathe. Wait a minute. Stephen has got a comment over there.
Oh, okay. Thank you for noticing that. Carl, do we perpetuate the madness because that is what we know and recognize and are comfortable with? Hey, who's doing the show? Is it Carl doing the show? Stephen, I don't know if Carl is still here, but we'll find out. I'm sure Carl will answer that. I'm sure he's got quite a few things to say on that, actually. And
I do agree with you, Stephen, that the more of us that perceive that madness, keep it going.
Yeah, I'm guilty as charged on that.
and that's the big challenge. That's the huge challenge. Yeah. It's coming into harmony with the fact that this whole thing here on Earth is meant to be dual.
Actually, going back to what Stephen's saying, because that is what we know and recognize and are comfortable with. I don't think change happens until we feel the discomfort of it, or until the discomfort gets too great. So, for instance, most people will hold out and hold out and hold out and believe what they want to believe in their life. They'll hold on to their vision of what their life is about until it just gets too painful to hold on to it. And that's when, I had a bit of an alcohol problem about 10 years ago. Well, no longer than that, because it's before Carl. And, it got to a stage where it's too painful to carry on. And then I thought, you know what, there's got to be something else. And I just got thoroughly bored of holding on to that pain. And I just thought, done with this. And I think that's what happens in relationships. There comes a time when all of a sudden there's just too much pain, and that the pain of grieving the relationship, you realize is actually going to be easier than being in the
And
relationship.
keeping it. Yeah. I've had that too with alcohol as a teenager as well.
Oh, right.
As you're saying, and the funny thing is, my body supported me so much in that after that I couldn't drink for over 10 years. I couldn't even smell alcohol.
Barbara's joined us as well. Hi, Barbara. It's really challenging, but it's so rewarding when you stay in yourself and stay in the spaces between. Now, I would imagine that being a new mum, it's an interesting perspective, because I remember my own experience. I'd love to hear how it is for you. And I'd love to hear your version as well, Tanya, about when you became a mum. For the first, I remember before I gave birth of wanting my child to come out of my belly so I could keep it safe. And then the moment they were out, I just wished they were back inside so I could keep them safe, because like, that's your biggest thing. Oh, my baby to be safe. And any peace and joy that I had in myself, any focus in myself, automatically kind of just went to the baby. And then that kind of hyper awareness was also juxtaposed against the feeling of calm floating away out of my body every time I breastfed, for about 3 or 4 months. I don't know if it's the hormones, but when my baby would nurse on my breast, I'd sometimes feel like I was coming out of my body, like I was floating away. I would feel like I could almost die. I just wasn't in my body anymore. So for me, it was a very sharp experience of being out of my body and just being in bliss, and then being so in my body and in the body of my child. It was really very polar experience. How was it for you, Tanya?
Well, I had 2 very different pregnancies, 2 very different experiences of motherhood. Actually, I could say I've had more than 3 or 4 different experiences of motherhood, because as I collapse into one, my experience of motherhood changes consistently. But at that time, so with my daughter, it was all of a sudden that was my focus, just like you say. And I started awakening from then on. So she was basically my awakener. And then with my son, it was a different kind of experience. So I experienced bliss all through my pregnancy and after that. But the first few months were very, very challenging, because I chose the experience of not having much support. So this, of course, brought me all sorts of transformations that I needed to realize and look at. Yeah. But of course, it did become a very big challenge. So most of the first 3 months or so, 4, I was exhausted all the time. So it was just, going all along the motions. And but when I had my son, I used to meditate in every morning, and that helped me a lot to navigate that time. But anyway, as a new mom, I did feel the challenge of this expanded focus on protecting this child and making sure that it's healthy and that everything is, taken care of. And so, yeah, it brings us to a different kind of awareness also of ourselves, of our capacities, and of compassion.
Thank you. And I love what you've shared, Barbara, about how rewarding it is to be in yourself and also in the spaces in between. Yeah. I imagine that's true mastery.
Barbara has come a long way in her journey from being very she's a Aries sun sign, and her name Barbara is fight barbaric from Barbara, and she's come from that to using that power to be in that space of knowingness and of peace. And really, she's one of the youngest people that I know that can master this. She's an amazing master at being present.
Wow. Okay, I'm in your hands now, Tanya, if you want to.
Okay, so I invite everyone to please close your eyes and just be very comfortable. If where you are, you can lie down and lie belly up and have your head well supported. That would be the choice. Or if you are sitting on a sofa or an armchair, you could also wiggle your body a bit lower and try and support your head so that your neck doesn't have to make an effort. Okay. So I invite you to inhale very gently but profoundly through your nose. And the same thing with your exhale through your nose. Allowing the breath, yielding to it. And as you inhale, allowing your belly to gently expand effortlessly. And when you exhale, just feeling it recede naturally. Bringing your full focus and attention to being here, now, in your breath, in your body. Entering that flow. That flow of the circle of your breath. As the inhale gently kisses the exhale, and the exhale nudges the inhale. And you just stay and receive in blissful contentment to behold such a sacred dance going on right here, right now, in your breath, in your body. Until you feel there is really no separation between the in-breath and the out-breath. Between the awareness of you and your presence here, now. Now deep down in your belly, in your core, exact center of your body, where your life force springs forth. Allow your breath to rekindle that fire. The passion of isness within you. Allowing it to warm your spine gently. It is a soft fire, loving and kind. Warming your spine from your root up to your crown, all the way up. Expanding your third eye and warming the front of your body all the way down. As you breathe, and allow and receive and stay. Feel your heart expanding. Expanding beyond what you perceive to be limitations. Softly burning away the illusions of separation. Ascending you to your whole self. Right here in your heart, in your body. Feel the endless love that your essence has towards the human self. The one you perceive yourself to be. and receive it. In the cradle of your breath, as if you were cuddling in the arms of a lover. Forgetting all you have been, and yet joyfully and gratefully embracing it. For there is only this moment, this breath, this love happening now. And if there is any clarity you have been requesting, I invite you to allow it right now for you. In this love. Always breathing through your nose, deep down into your belly. Allowing that love, this love, to dissolve all of the noise of separation in this moment. This is your gift to the world, the gift of receiving this love yourself. So that it may serve you and all as one. The gift of being this love. When you know that each breath is a stream of love happening through you, what does that bring into your life? I invite you to take a few deeper breaths, trusting that you will remain in this warm, loving embrace of who you are. As you gradually prepare to awaken, wiggling your toes, feeling your hands, keeping the breath deep and soft. And whenever you feel ready, opening your eyes for a new vision of the world around. I really thank everyone who has been breathing with us for allowing this silence, this depth. Thank you so much. Thank you, Louisa, for opening the space for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so very, very much.
Yeah, thank you.
We're getting some thanks here coming in.
Yeah.
Wells is saying thank you. Gregor is saying 0 = 1. He's heard us, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Aeelah, is it Aeelah or Lola?
I think it is Aeelah, yeah.
Hi, thank you for joining us. Gregor saying thank you. Matea saying thank you.
The beautiful thing, when we really tap into this is all of a sudden, any kind of conflict or doubt or whatever just dissipates in this natural state of beingness. It's not even then a question of discussing whether we need to be concerned about this or that, because it just all vanishes.
You, my friend, are outstanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's what Doris is saying as well. Thank you so much with heart.
I'm gonna take a card from my soul my soul song there. Let's see. For everyone. Soul Song 22 says, if you knew you are an angel, would you drink from the pool of wisdom, or would you thirst for a new kingdom? Would you search, or would you be?
That's just absolutely perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, really perfect for this experience we have just had together. It's amazing how these things always just, no way science can explain that.
Don't tempt fate. I'm sure if a scientist heard this, I got trolled earlier this week by someone that was like doing some science stuff on me, sent me a message to tell me I was an absolute idiot. Then I blocked him, and then he came up with a different profile and sent me a friend request, a message with a really long letter telling me, how stupid I was.
Bless him.
Yeah, bless him. I'm going to have to disappear into the gaps.
Yeah.
I wind my way back into my family. And
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for offering us, all of us, me and everyone else here, this space and time of your day with the family. And because Louisa is something outstanding. She's a stay-at-home mom who works as well at home, and she's got a stay-at-home dad, so husband, who also works from home, and they've got 3 kids all at home.
Mm-hmm.
In something, a hybrid between homeschooling and unschooling.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And it always amazes me how you guys do it. Wow.
Mostly we make the most of the opportunities around us. Recently, the dogs found a dead wild boar down the lane. And it's been decomposing, and this sounds really gross, but our dogs have been bringing on bits of dead boar into our garden every day and eating it in front of us. And yesterday we got part of the dead boar's face in our garden, and so unschool yesterday was the kids very carefully like picking out a couple of its teeth and washing it really carefully, and they were just fascinated by it. So every day is a moment, no matter how gross it is. Every day is a moment.
For them it isn't gross, it's interesting.
Yeah. And we collected some really ripe plums from the garden yesterday, and we've got some lovely apples that we were gifted. And so after this I promised my daughter that I'd bake an apple and plum pie.
So that gives me an idea too, because I've got loads of apples and plums.
Perfect. So on that lovely moment and that divine moment, thank you so much, Tanya, for making yourself available to us as well. And thank you to everybody that's we have a core group of people that join us each time, and I'm really grateful because, like you said, this was something that belonged to all of us today. It was wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you all. What a blessing.
Yeah.
Let's not cry.
Let's keep it together. So I'm going to attempt to play us out with our theme tune.
Okay.
Sometimes this goes a bit wonky, but I'm going to do my best. So anyway, lots of love to everyone, wherever you are in the world. We love you, and we can't wait for you to join us again another time.
We do. Oh, yes, we do. Thank you.
Bye for now.